Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, I know I've been gone for a bit. I had a bit of a health situation, and I just really, for a good part of it, I didn't feel like doing anything much when it came to making videos. But I'm back now. Things seem to be going away, and everything seems to be on the mend. So here I am. Now, before I left, there were a number of things that were starting to pop off in the political world. I talked about anti-trans bills down in Texas and Florida, and even how Louisiana's governor refused to allow anything like that to happen in his state. And then there were the voter suppression laws, starting in Georgia, then down in Florida, then Texas tried while I was gone. Now let's start with the voting rights and the voting suppression. There are states across the country that have been blocking people's rights to vote. Texas Democrats actually refused quorum and left, refusing the state to, or the Republicans to be able to do that in Texas. The Democrats finally grew a spine for the first time in years. Democrats grew a spine and said, "No, we're not letting this happen," and they left. So kudos to those Democrats who refused to allow the Republicans to run roughshod over them and to take rights away from minorities in their state. Now, across the country, this is happening. Many states are trying to do this. Many states are trying to curtail voting rights. Basically, voter suppression. And amazingly, what are each and every one of these state legislatures controlled by? That's right, they're state GOP. The fact is, conservatives cannot win an election without suppressing your vote. Do not let them suppress your vote. Do not let them block you from voting. Because at the end of the day, if your ideas are such that you have to block people from voting, that means your ideas have failed. Your ideas are failures and they are wrong. And you're scared that the American people will judge you on that and not vote for you. So what are you doing with all the racist stuff going on and all the pro-Trump crap going on? That's right. You're worried that the minorities in this country are not going to vote for you. So you're trying to make sure they can't vote for the other side. So you can maintain your grip on power. Well, I hate to tell you, folks, but conservative views are a little back-assward. At least today. Today it's all about, how mean can you be to other people? How cruel can you be to people that aren't like you? That seems to be the GOP today. Which is sad, because that's not the conservative party I grew up seeing. That's not the Republican Party I grew up watching. There's a reason I am a liberal Democrat now. And it's because of watching the Republicans change over these years. Watching George W. Bush as governor of Texas, I became a Republican when I turned 18. More libertarian, but still, I voted Republican. And then over the years, I saw them changing. And by 2004, I had given up. I was already starting to vote Democrat in presidential elections. In fact, by 99, I had already started voting for Democrats, for president. I voted for Al Gore. I voted for John Kerry. But at the state level, I kept voting Republican. And then I realized that they are terrible people. At least in the state of Texas. Maybe Republicans somewhere have a soul. I don't know. But I wasn't seeing it in Texas. I'm not seeing it in a lot of places. Back in 2003, 2004, I saw a Republican get on national television and say that anybody on welfare was just like a rabid animal and should be put down. That is when I completely shifted. And since then, it's been a relatively quick walk to the left. And unfortunately, it's not. I don't agree with everything on the left all the time. And sometimes it annoys me at some of the things I see on the left. But I cannot identify myself or support a party that does the things they do. People that are already being oppressed, people that are already down on their luck, and you kick them while they're down. That's why I am a Democrat. That is why I will never be a Republican again in my lifetime. I cannot stand to see people treated like that. I cannot stand to see people being stepped on when they're already at their lowest point. And those are the things that the Republicans are scared you're going to see. They're scared you're going to see the fact that most of them supported what that cop did to George Floyd. They want you to believe that that's not how they felt at the time. But we watched it. We saw what they said. We saw what they did. So at the end of the day, if your ideas are such that you have to block people from voting, then your ideas have failed and you need to change them. End of story. Now on to the anti-trans youth bills that I've seen going across the states since I left. When I left off, I was telling you about the states that were doing this. Florida, Tennessee, Texas. Texas had bills on the floor of their legislature, not only to ban trans youth from being active in sports, but they also were trying to make it illegal for parents to find gender-affirming care. And why do I focus on Texas? Because I lived there most of my life, and they're the ones that I know more about. But this is happening in multiple states across the union, and it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. But in Texas, they had a bill that would have found parents to be child abusers, threatening them with jail time and with losing their child for finding gender-affirming care for that child. Literally making parents child abusers for supporting their child, for wanting their child to survive and live and thrive. Is that not what every parent is supposed to want to do? But no, they don't care about that. They don't care about children. They don't care about parents. They don't care about families. So if you ever hear them talking about family values and supporting the children and being pro-life, they're lying to you. It's a bold-faced lie. They are not family values. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your child. They care about what's written in their stupid little black book. That's what they care about. They generally don't care about you or anybody else. Sorry about the doggy. She's getting a little excited. It's okay, puppy. But I don't understand it. I truly don't get it. She's fine. But yeah, at the end of the day, these people, that's all they want. All they want to do is to harm people. They don't care to help you. They don't want to help you. They don't want to be helpful for you. All they care about is, like I said, what's in their little book. And nowhere in their book does it state that there are no such thing as trans people. In fact, it actually mentions people that were similar to today's trans people. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And it never will. But these are why they're doing this stuff. Because it plays well with their voters. You've got people out there that actually believe when they tell them that the doctors are actually giving gender-affirming surgeries on little kids like 8, 9, 11 years old. These things don't happen. That is not how it works in this country. I don't know how it works anywhere else in the world, but I know that's not how it works here. There are protocols and rules and already laws that you have to follow before that ever can happen. And it doesn't happen to children that young. There are also physical reasons why it can't be done on children that young. As I learned from watching shows like it was like what was it, Life of Jazz or whatever her name was, her show was called, Jazz Jennings, who I've been following since she was a little kid. First ever time I ever heard about her, because her story was so inspiring, that she was so adamant that she, what to her parents, that she is who she was. And I see that play out again and again with other trans youth, like Kai Shapley. And to be able to watch these kids grow up, or watch them growing up, it hurts me to see them treated this way. The fact is, during the last legislative session, I saw a tweet or a Facebook post from the mother of Kai Shapley, who talked about how much pain and how just downright how much anxiety this little kid was going through, because they went to Austin to talk to the legislature. That child got death threats by adults for speaking out for herself, leading that child to having, insane amounts of anxiety over it. And her mother does the best she can to make sure her kid doesn't see that stuff. I see what she talks about on Facebook all the time, about how she tries to hide this stuff from her. Because you don't want kids seeing that. You don't want kids seeing the hate and the anger that some stupid people have because they have no brain cells to understand that other people are just different than them. And to anybody watching this, I hope you understand what words mean to people. You may not understand it. You may not understand what they're going through. You may not understand how they live. But this is America. And in America, we are supposed to allow everyone to be equal. Let people live their lives and be free to be who they are. And these bills go against that. They go against everything that I believe in and that most Americans would believe in. I don't believe in attacking kids just because you don't like the fact that they're transgender. If you don't like the fact that people are transgender, I don't care. I don't care what you understand. I don't care if you like it. You can deal with it. There's a lot of things I see on a daily basis that I don't like. And guess what? I have to deal with it. I don't like the fact that any American can literally walk into any gun shop and get as many guns as they freaking want to. I don't like the fact that we've had over 50 mass shootings since the start of this year. But I have to deal with it. I don't like the fact that there are bigots always around to say terrible things to people just because they're LGBT. But I have to deal with those idiots. I have to deal with those idiots every day. Unfortunately, some of them are in my family. And I don't care who you are. You can always be empathetic to other people. You can always care about other people, regardless if you agree with their life or not. But I'll tell you this, if you think being LGBT is a choice, if you think being gay or transgender is a choice, you're wrong. And if you're a cisgender, straight person, answer me this in the comments. If being gay is a choice, when did you decide to be straight? Because if your sexuality is a choice, then you would have had to have chosen to be straight. But I guarantee you it was ingrained in your brain from the start of your life that if you're a cisgender straight person, you probably never had to question your gender. You probably never questioned your sexuality. It just was what it was. There was probably never any confusion for you. But for a lot of people, there is. Because sexuality is not a static thing. There's a spectrum. All the way from straight, all the way to gay. There's no one thing for everybody. And I'm not going to sit here and debate anymore. I'm not going to sit here and debate about biology. I'm tired of making the debate. I'm tired of having the argument. Because people don't want to listen. At the end of the day, I'm done debating. The point I have is that you can care about people. You can care about your fellow American. You can be empathetic to other people's needs and their situations. You could give a kind word or say nothing at all. If I remember growing up, that's one thing I was taught. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing. But one little bit of epic and hilarious karma for people being just completely downright mean and rude and harassing LGBT people. There's a story that came out yesterday of a family who was on June 1st was on a boat, had a pride flag because they have members of the family who were gay, and they were having a good time, just enjoying the lake. And then these hillbilly redneck folks decided they were going to come spin around their boat, yelling all sorts of slurs at them for, having the pride flag and all this other stuff, and just outright being rude and harassing them. And as I saw in a video, which I don't have the rights to, so I cannot show you, but I will try to find a link to a video that I watched yesterday of it. This boat spinning around, and these people acting as rude as possible, catches fire and explodes. Instant karma. See, people, you don't have to be mean. And everybody was safe on the boat. Everybody on the boat that exploded, they saw the smoke, they were able to get off. And then the boat exploded. So everybody's safe. Because I'd hate to see anybody hurt for being stupid and being bigoted like that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You either have a choice. There's no reason to have to argue about reasons or anything like that. You can either be supportive of your fellow Americans, give everybody equal rights, or you can just deal with it. Just shut your mouth and let people be who they are. Anyways, this has been The Big Ranch Show. I've been your host, Jacob Keck. Expect more videos very soon, and I'll see you down the road.